Alright, let's continue with the... There you go, by unlocking the car and proceeding more directly into the casino.
Oh boy, gambling.
Don't worry, Liz, we don't have to do that.
Platformer fans are huge fans of gambling.
Oh, of course, Shiroi.
Besides, isn't a platforming challenge a form of gambling? You make the jump and you gamble your life.
Now you want the true gambling experience, play a Hat in Time.
I think I've already had my fill of platforming gambling with Super Mario Brothers: The Lost Levels. Thank you very much.
Wait. You consider that gambling?
Would you look at that ugly mug?
I mean, all the leaps of faith you have to do, yeah.
If you're gonna make a gambling joke, let's use New Super Mario Brothers 2.
Or hell, you know, or you could use
Sonic Adventure.
Yeah, or Sonic Heroes.
Game.
Or Sonic Heroes.
Sonic Heroes. Oh, that's a gambling-ish thing, isn't it?
That's literally what I've been saying.
Sonic especially for Bingo Highway. Screw that stage.
What are you talking about? I was able to get an A my first time. By the...
Sure, of course you were.
Heaven be praised, Jesus Jover.
I had to cheat my way through that stage.
I'm more like, who cares?
Trust me, Tio, getting an A on Bingo Highway is,
No, I mean, what incentive do you have in getting A ranks in Sonic Heroes?
Unlockables.
That's the thing, Jova. The hard modes in Heroes and Shadow are just so... Like, who cares? At least, hell, even Shadows is better, because at least in Shadow you get some extra story information. Or, yeah, let's look important story information behind the super hard mode. That's a good idea.
Oh, hold on. This is one of the 2 levels where something particular is about to happen because, oops, turns out Miss Montoya Fox has tracked us down.
About time you showed up, Miss Fox. Was getting worried about you.
This is one of those rare occasions where the thief is actually the male instead of the female. Normally, it's the good guy chasing after the bad femme fatale.
Keep in mind Carmelita's design here. You know, I mean, actual, physical design for later on.
Oh yeah,
not this game, but later on the franchise.
It changes too, yeah.
Just like with the voice actress, yes.
Basically.
Anyway, there you go. The key of this particular level is don't stay still, because Carmelita's gun can potentially kill you despite her keeping saying that, it's on stun setting.
Okay,
totally.
When they say character development, they need to develop their character. Yeah, the character changes over time, not the voice.
Well, it's not just
well, maybe that's part of the course, Lives.
Well, then again, a certain character in they went into Spyro trilogy has that same issue as well.
Sparks, but no.
Okay. 2 characters.
Okay, that's also a good segue for me to talk about, my country's version of these games. The voice acting actually stayed pretty consistent. Unfortunately, Thieves in Time was the game where they changed Sly's voice actor, which is kind of a shame. I actually really liked the voice actor at the beginning for this trilogy. For giving you an idea, basic idea how his voice works, he's the same guy who voices characters like Brock from the Pokemon anime. He's kind of used to do these kind of kids, teens type of video games and animes. But for some reason, he couldn't come back for Peace in Time, so we replayed. The replay we got was fine, but it's one of those situations where it would have been nice if it was there for the beginning. The lack of consistency kind of damages the whole thing. But everything else has been pretty consistent on its own, like including Carmelita's voice actress. So there is that. Also, to give an idea for hilarity's sake, the voice actor for Bentley is the same one that's being used regularly as the voice of the Joker for DC products, Jova.
Beautiful.
And it's particular because I never actually let you hear that, but the Italian version of Joker that was chosen sounds drastically different from the tone that Mark Hamill does. Is less deep, and more akin to, being more evil rather than being raspy. It's a bit hard to explain. I will show maybe a clip one time or another. There we go. Unfortunately, we're missing one bottle. There we go. Let's cut to getting back it.
Where did you find it?
Through the junk, Adriana. That's the good thing about editing. There we go. Let's see what we get here. I think it's the blueprints. Yeah, there you go. It's still a bit late. Usually you'd think that you will get the blueprints in the first level that may help you for later, but sure, why not? Again, like you mentioned, it's a bit weird the time that you can potentially screw yourself over and having them for the last thing that you potentially can collect. Anyway, let's put it here.
There you go. No, but that's just the thing, Joe. But there's the incentive to do the story information for Shadow the Hedgehog's expert mode, but honestly, the hard mode in Sonic Heroes is just like, who cares?
Yeah. Oh, look. Oh, don't get me wrong. I do agree with you. It's no Green Hill Zone.
No, and even then, with Green Sonic Adventure 2 had other rewards as you unlocked each and everything. You know, like and it wasn't just like all the things. Whereas Sonic Heroes, yeah, you unlock more multiplayer modes for the emblems, but the multiplayer in Sonic Heroes, let's face it, sucks. Especially
And that's also assuming.
Better than Child the Hedgehog's multiplayer.
Well, more fucking duh.
And for Heroes, it's also assuming you actually have a version that runs fine and not like, say, the PS2 version like they did.
Actually, I'm gonna be honest. Well, the PS2 version was the one I had. As
Not
a
just
kid.
that, Joe, remember, European PS2 version, which means, at max locked at 50 frames.
Wow, so the
Anyway,
worst
hold on,
version...
there you go. For ending these particular sections, basically, while collecting the key, you do something that makes Carmelita go away. Don't worry, she'll be fine. Alright, I think I'm only missing like 2 levels from this.
So yeah, we're back at Muggshot's turf. I think I said 1G too many.
Fortunately, on GameFAQs, there's a save file with that's 100%. It even has all 326 paths unlocked. Yeah, somebody apparently spent their entire. Someone with no wife apparently unlocked all 326 of these. So I'll just use it when I record the game.
To be fair, I definitely see the incentive. Like, it is fun to piece together all these cute little episodes or whatnot of what Shadow's doing here and there. I can definitely see the appeal. It's not...
well, here's the thing, Jova. It's not like there's new information. What you do, like you can unlock all the possible cutscenes that are to unlock in Shadow the Hedgehog's past.
No. What I'm
without having to do all the 326.
What I'm talking about, the appeal is like was literally forming all these different episodes that have events tapered together here and there. I mean, maybe the appeal's not there as much today, but I definitely know it was back then and there. You know, there's sort of like a sort of create your own story sort of deal here and there. I definitely get the appeal.
Maybe back in 2005, Jova, but the very next year we got YouTube, and now with YouTube giving us an ability to watch all of that crap, it just becomes pointless.
Hence my point why back then the incentive was on more than it is today, probably. I mean,
I guess.
I will give them credit. The Shadow the Hedgehog was an ambitious game here. Was a lot of the ambition put in the right place? Debatable, but at least it's still remembered at its heart to be a Sonic game, which is more than can be said for the actual next Sonic game.
I mean, isn't one of the endings actually Shadow standing over Sonic and declaring that he's the better hedgehog over 2 or something?
That's Shadow.
Like in a very silly way.
That's Shadow's usual ego thing, yeah.
That's the thing, Jova, but that's exactly the problem. You know, as someone who actually did enjoy Shadow's character in Sonic Adventure 2, that's the main reason why I hate that game, because it completely misses the point of what the character was in Sonic Adventure 2. Like, for example, Shadow doesn't... Like, yes, Shadow does like to gloat the fact that he's the ultimate life form, but at his core, he's a very compassionate individual. So to have even if it's technically made non-canon by the final story, I still don't. It doesn't sit right with me to have Shadow do some of the stuff he does in that game because it's so out of character.
To be fair, that's sort of the idea for it to be outlandish. Like, it's literally a, hey, you want Shadow to be evil? Go ahead and make him evil. You want him to be good? Go ahead and take a more heroic path. If you want him to think he's a freaking... Huh? What was that, Joey?
this shouldn't have happened in the first place, because I know, but like the reaction to me saying this usually doesn't go down very well. But Shadow should have stayed dead at the end of SA2 because that was what was supposed to happen.
I think I mentioned this in the past, Shirei, but here's the thing. I can't speak from when the first game came out, but I got the idea for the fact that they were really hyping up Shadow to be the next big event for SA2. So just letting him stay dead after the game feels, counterproductive for merchandise purposes.
Not only that,
that's exactly my problem, Tail. Merchandising was given priority over good storytelling.
Well,
that's my problem.
Honestly,
Back purely for fan demand, and that is what they didn't know what to do with him from that point. And I also really like the character, but him staying dead would have been the best thing for him at the time, because in other iterations he isn't that bad, like Battle, for example.
I'm going
to give you an idea, Tail. The reason we got Shadow the Hedgehog at all, and I'm not talking about him in Revive, because it got revived in Heroes. The reason we got Shadow the Hedgehog at all was because there was a poll where fans, which Sonic character would you like to have a game centered upon? So it really was the merchandising aspect.
I mean, I would say that there was some legit ideas of bringing him back. I'm gonna disagree that bringing him back was completely a bad idea because, honestly, I mean, in the entertainment industry, when it comes to a character like Shadow, I can very well see him surviving. Like, his quote-unquote death in Adventure 2 never really felt like that kind of absolute thing because, let's be honest, let me finish. Let's be honest, we've seen characters fall from space before in the series and survive and whatnot. So, honestly, it wouldn't be too much a stretch to say that he survived, albeit knocked down. Especially since he was in super form here and there. What I do agree...
Didn't he explode?
I'm okay with that, Jova. But at the same time, okay, if you want to keep him around, why even have an emotionally satisfying sacrifice for him?
I can explain that.
Actually,
wait, hold on.
That's the thing when kind of criticism.
Like the whole thing with the Sayonara Shadow the Hedgehog, it's like they had so much emphasis on that, on his sacrifice. It is kind of downplayed by bringing him back, I will say.
That one is easy to explain. Sega thought that Sonic Adventure 2 was going to be the last Sonic game, period. You can tell by the advertising, everything, the fact that it was kind of
Sonic.
the dream.
Forever.
Pretty much.
He looks across at all the other games.
But that makes no sense, though. Why would they even think that? The series was selling gangbusters at the time.
Well,
if it was selling gangbusters... Well, I got an answer to that. If it was selling gangbusters, how come the Dreamcast died the same year SA2 came out?
I was actually about to bring that up because...
A single game cannot save a console glitch.
Well, that's sort of the point, though. It's like, well, the Dreamcast wasn't doing that well, and Sega, well, it was kind of at the point where Sega were considering that, we probably aren't going to survive. So, again, Sonic Adventure 2 was made sort of as a swan song to Sega's as a company. Like, it was kind of like their Final Fantasy of sorts. Like,
that's pretty much what I was about to say, yes.
Sorry.
I mean, we don't know for sure, but that is the best assumption, I think.
Also, the reason the Dreamcast died was because of external reasons, not because it had poor selling. It was because Sega's bullshit in the 90s finally caught up to them.
But yeah, pretty much to answer that, why Sonic Adventure 2 feels so final and a lot of stuff, including Shadow's death, that is definitely because it was meant as a swan song for the series and Sega as a whole. Until, they eventually saved themselves with the third-party maneuver.
Hold on, this is...
Yeah, let's see what power up we get.
Sure.
Alright. Hold on.
What did you get? Armbands?
No, thankfully, but as Bentley said, this time getting into the water will not anymore give us damage, which is very actually helpful. Thing is, cherish it because this does not stack with future games.
I bet Sparrow wishes he had that in his first.
Damn you, power creep.
I can definitely understand that logic, Jova. But at the same time, this is kind of a storytelling rule that I have that to me should never be broken. Like you decided to have a satisfying emotional sacrifice for this character, you need to commit to it at this point. If you go back on it, then you're a bad storyteller in my eyes. Sorry, and this applies to anyone that does this. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, I forgot. Sorry, I didn't mention it because it was actually BRB. Yeah, I honestly do believe Shadow Sacrifice at the end of SA2 was not really necessary in the first place.
It wasn't.
It wasn't even when you think about it, because like I've said, we've seen before that characters previously in the series can survive this sort of stuff. So yeah, honestly, his sacrifice.
I also mentioned. I also mentioned this.
It was more like it was basically supposed to be a redemption arc, Joe, because Theo, because Shadow fooled Eggman into thinking he was going to be able to take over the world with the Eclipse Cannon, when in reality he was just helping Gerald realize his true plan. However, he at the end, when he realizes that that's all what Maria wanted, then that's when he decides to redeem himself, and they decide to, I guess, kill him for the sake of giving it more emotional punch, maybe.
There's also the fact that I mentioned this somewhere else, but there's also the fact that when you really start analyzing the lyrics of it, the song "Supporting Me" pretty much spoils the entirety of Shadow's story arc.
Well, to be fair to you, by the time that's supported...
Not in a sense of a bad way, Joe, but in a sense that more foreshadowing than spoiling. Yeah, I guess that's a better term.
Tio, my point is that by the time Supporting Me plays, you pretty much have seen Shadow's story for the most part.
It does tell you, with the lyrics, "I'll be losing you before long," which kind of tells the fact that Shadow may, it reflects the fact that Shadow later on dies. But again, honestly, I don't know. Like it again, as someone who's mostly not as into the Sonic franchise in itself, I thought it was unnecessary at the time, and story-wise for Shadow the Hedgehog, it feels a bit odd for me. It's a bit hard to explain, but it feels a bit too hasty with the retcons by introducing, Black Doom and the other aliens into the equation of how Geralt managed to create the ultimate life.
Comics made effort to write them out, by the way, which is
great.
They
did?
Yeah,
Cool.
they did.
Well, I mean, honestly, in terms of Shadow the Hedgehog's the game, I mean, of the story of that game, really, the only things that are really that memorable to me are hearing the 4Kids cast come up,
Swear.
Dropping swears.
But for me, it's some of the stupid dialogue.
Aside from the mimetic dam, what else is there?
Black Doom being voiced by Goku for some reason.
Oh, okay.
It's because of the way... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
And, maybe a couple of the looks of the levels.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you have to understand with the event, again, my country has a different concept for swear words, so stuff like damn and hell feels very still like childlike.
Plus, it's like I said before. I mean, as bad as Shadow the Hedgehog was in an attempt to try and make a usually kid-friendly series very, a lot darker than normal.
I mean, it's better than Bomberman Act Zero.
Well, better than a lot of things, honestly.
That's the one that's the one you always go to.
Well, I mean, it's the most obvious one. I mean, at least, for as bad as Shadow the Hedgehog in general was, I have played some of the game.
That's the thing, that your argument basically amounts to this piece of shit smells better than this piece of shit.
I was in the middle of explaining.
Go ahead.
At the very least, they put more effort into Shadow than whatever the hell Hudson was trying to do for Act Zero. I mean, all they did for Act Zero was just take the same gameplay, make it worse, and give them generic Iron Man reject outfits.
To be fair, hold on. There's also it's also not a proper comparison, Waves, I argue, because Sonic games also starting with with later titles like Adventures, try to also focus more on the story, while Act Zero refused to give a story in the first place aside from the premise.
I think
That is a
Oh,
potential
no,
difference.
there is a story.
I
It's
think-
incredibly bare bones, but there is
Well,
a story.
that's the point, Vibs. I think a better comparison will be something like the Alone in the Dark reboot instead.
Also,
Well,
ano-
I can't speak for that. I've never seen it.
also another
Anyway,
example
hold on,
would be
what is-
Pizza
I
Prince
forgot
of the
what is
Warrior
this
of the
movie.
Fin.
Oh, basically, this is traditional. You know, you create a doppelganger bait to lure enemies in an area.
Oh boy, my favorite kind of power-up.
You
The
know,
thing is that,
Making-
again,
making
it's
the-
not
the
really
hypnotism
useful.
power.
Again, it's not really useful because there are not that many enemies in the same area,
That
and
was
they all
actually-
die in one hit. There it is.
That was
Oops,
actually-
there it goes.
That was actually one of the few things I
Kept you
actually
waiting,
really
huh?
enjoyed from Force That's actually one of the few things I really enjoyed from Force Unleashed 2, where you can hypnotize the stormtroopers into attacking their own friends.
Well, it's not correct. It's not even the same thing, this, but I can tell you the good news is that later titles will introduce this kind of idea with a particular type of gas that Bentley can use.
You know, since we're talking about stories that go darker here and there, might as well tie this into Sly Cooper here and there. I don't.
Oh, we're actually about to face Muggshot, I think, but go on.
I don't think Thieves in Time isn't necessarily completely darker, but you can tell it's trying to go for a more nuanced look. But in a way, it just feels more like, hey, these characters were happy this time, but oh, sorry, we gotta make it so that people are.
I disagree. I still think Sly 2 is still the darkest entry of the franchise.
Well, I feel
but,
like Sly 2 at least knows what it's doing. Thieves in Time.
Oh yeah, there's a difference of Thieves in Time in terms of dark stuff. It's very minimal.
Okay.
Anyway.
Like I said, not necessarily dark, but it feels like Thieves in Time goes for a more miserable plot sort of thing.
My boys have been
And yes, Muggshot is also voiced by Kevin Blackton.
cracking skulls and this is it? You're the monkey wrench in my operation? Some scrawny
It's always the most unlikely ones, I think you'll find.
Yep.
I seen that stick
It's a cane, thank
Your
you.
father knocked your block off with it.
Your father? Wow.
Yeah, he really did skip like day.
Cooper? You know that thing is
You're not supposed to do that.
nice pictures, but wait.
Oh, just wait until you see how it moves, Shiro.
He's gonna fall over every time he takes a step.
You break into my place.
Is he gonna be like the picture of the buff sheep?
I feel transgressed and violated. Let's rock.
There you go. He just does that.
Oh!
That's majestic.
That.
Anyway, this fight is bizarre. You're supposed to. There you go. Muggshot is very fast and very fast to shoot. What you're supposed to do is to hit the mirrors in the arena in order to concentrate rays of light that can cook him up. Gotta be honest, this was not the post-fight concept I was expecting from this particular guy, but sure, let's go with that.
I see he's got both them guns in the arms and the guns on
Again,
his back.
he's really fast. This is actually one of the more tricky parts in the entire game. So
I can see the concept though. He's got to be built up with a lot of body heat, so heat him up.
shit. Yeah, let's just keep to the part where I won. There we go.
My beautiful gun is destroyed.
Oh, it destroyed his gun.
Well, like you said, he has an extra pair upstairs. I think this is just an excuse to have more tricky platforming added to the equation.
Oh boy. Yep.
Also, again, thanks to the speed up power up, I can actually move over and wait out faster. There you go.
So basically the
Shit.
strategy is turn on every light you can and lure him the best.
And not just that, never stay still. Again, this is another fight where you need to not stay still.
I like fights like these. They emphasize, you know, Sly Cooper's abilities.
Yeah.
A lot of crash fights are like this.
Oh, I know. It's,
Yeah, kind of like Ripperoo or Tiny Tiger in Crash 2, for example. Okay, here you go. The final fight takes place, there you go. This is a bit different. You need to use the spiral jump, there you go, to reach instead this mirror. There we go. Ouch. the mirrors like this in order to actually, you know, point all of them at him. Oh shit! But yeah, if you do that, if he does that, you can potentially knock back the mirror. So
Shame that, you know, you can't just, you know, sort of
Whack
bait
him.
No, more like bait him into shooting the mirror so it flips onto him himself.
I'm about to try. Yeah, there you go. It doesn't work.
He went to video game
a good idea to
bosses
go-
college.
It's a good idea to do what you're doing right now, though, which is wait till
Yeah.
he shoots and then hit the mirror and then go. That way,
Almost done.
That way you'll have time.
There we go.
This is impossible. A little
This is not pronounced like that.
beating a big dumb like
That's the
me?
accent, Pedro.
It ain't right.
You got defeated by mirrors, dude. This is not gonna look good on your resume.
Whatever, Joe. Plenty of Zelda bosses are. So,
But
Also,
yeah.
he's a dog. They are very easily distracted by mirrors.
Anyway,
He
let's
got
see.
over
There you
easy.
go.
that-
Very good, Jova.
Wow.
This is probably your favorite ancestor, Tennessee Kid Cooper.
Kid Cooper.
Of course.
His specialty was the rail walk. and
Yeah,
race
no kidding. This is actually one of the very useful abilities.
lifetime of theft in the Old West.
Shame his ability doesn't come with a gun.
Getting out of town.
Yeah, we'll get to back that if he's in time. Anyway, let's see the newspaper line.
Inspector Fox went for the next best thing and dragged that canine steroid case off to the
Hot
jail.
stuff with a badge colors canine
That was
criminal.
the end of
Okay,
Muggshot's
if there's one
Like,
thing I...
something tells me these journalists are a bit biased.
While me and the boys-
You know, it's good thing you brought that up, Tio.
Sly, no, you're not supposed to do that. Also, for pre-spray bonus, one of the stars was telling the name Donkey Kong. That was nice.
Nice. But yeah, okay, I will admit, one of the few things I do like about Thieves in Time is that gimmick that you referenced. I won't-
The ancestors, but again, all in due time. In the meantime, tune in next time where instead we reach the swamps of Louisiana and have to confront, well, not immediately, the next of the Fiendish Five, Miss Ruby.
Oh,
Yeah.
neat.
Yeah.
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 See you then.
So what about Mr. Sapphire?